Hi, you guys. I know I haven't been on in a while. Um, I met this really amazing woman yesterday, and it inspired me enough to film a video. She was so like me, and it was so amazing to meet her and to hear her stories and to just connect with someone who, what I call, speaking English, which what that meant to me in that moment was just that she knows what's going on with the planet. She knows what's going on with the cosmos, and she's connected to the earth, and you know knows why she's here. She's been awakened for a long time, it seems like. And I was chatting with her and I realized that I have been too, and I've just been so starved to talk to other people who are speaking English about the world. Not she could just see what's going on. And I thought, well, she suggested actually that I do a podcast on what I know and what I've learned and how I learned it. And I was like, wow, I've been awakened since 2012, the end of 2012. All of 2013 was just crazy, scary and intense and scary. And I was remembering back to what I felt like at that time and how many people are awakening now. And I feel like a lot of people are just like, bam, waking up, and realizing stuff has to change. My awakening was a little slower, but still had that bam element, like, holy cow, everything's different and it's never gonna change back ever. And so I kind of wanted, to say that to people who are waking up right now and finding stuff on YouTube. Like back when there was nothing on YouTube, there was one woman, Sandra Walter, and I listened to her videos like, Sunday morning prayer. Like, anytime she posted something, I had to watch it, and it just spoke to my soul. And I thought, God, talking to that woman yesterday, I realized that I need that still, and that there's a bunch of people that I watch on YouTube every day that help, like, center and ground me, help me to remember, they were speaking English. You may have watched some of them. One person I feel speaks English is Tim Wild, Wild. He's always he just talks about this stuff that I see and feel and perceive every day, like, stuff going on with the dragons and the fairies and the, the Pleiadians and stuff. He just talks about it like it's normal. And that's all the stuff that's going on in my head all the time, is that my awareness of that, but I never, ever, ever have real people to talk to about it. So I thought, wow, okay, I'm going to post this stuff, and maybe, like that lady made me feel really connected, if I'm just honest about what's in my head and what I've learned and what I perceive every day and every moment, then I'll be able to support someone out there, like me, because even if you've been in this game for a while, it's really, really hard. And I feel like every moment I'm constantly choosing between the old way and the new way of doing things, the old programs and the new available energy, everything that is like fresh and brand new to us. Sometimes it's like, am I perceiving that? Is that real? Is that available? What is available to me to step out of fear and contraction and move into love? And every day, every morning, I have to remake that commitment to live coming from a place of love. Because it's so easy. We've been trained so deeply to live in that old paradigm, that old way of being, that old, like, be terrified about everything, be dense and contracted and about everything. Nothing is supportive to you. Nothing is available to you. Nothing is like, Earth doesn't even know you're alive. Like, nobody's watching, just all this stuff that we learned in the Piscean age is just so isolating and sad. And it actually comes across as like violence to me. Violence against people, through religion, stuff like that. And we're in this really weird time where all of that is breaking away and falling away. And, it's like a baby being born. Like, they don't know oxygen, what they're breathing it, they're doing it because they're in an air environment. But it's like, I feel like a lot of us don't even know what air is. We've been contracted for so long and we're just being born. And it's like, what am I supposed to do? Oh, I'm supposed to like breathe in and out, and how does that translate to talking to people? Or how do I act? Or how do I deal with, problematic people in my family or my friends? And like, there's so many like moment to moment decisions. And it's like, are you going to choose fear? Or are you going to choose love? Are you going to choose contraction? Or are you going to choose like trust? And I am not perfect at it, but I set that intention moment to moment, and it's exhausting. I'm exhausted most of the time, and I wanted to put this video up. I've been inspired lately by Michael, I always forget his last name. He does that show Inspire Nation. I think it's Michael Sandler. And he's been sharing a lot lately about personal parts of his journey. And like, his wife is pregnant, and he got into this really bad bike accident and was injured really badly. And he's just been sharing. I've been watching his show for a while, but like, it's usually just the show and he has like a guest and they talk. But he's been adding these layers of talking about his personal struggles and like how he gets through the day, and moment to moment stuff. And I'm like, God, this just gets me through my day to hear like, oh, that's what I'm living through. That's what I'm experiencing, is like this moment to moment, like, I guess, prayer for steadiness and help and food and money and sleep and like all of these really human things to deal with. And it all just works out. This is someone else that I really like, the Leo King. I've been watching him since 2013 and I love him. And he does this spiritual dance music show, which is incredible if you love house music and tarot cards. And he was saying this, he says this really beautiful prayers, like it's a real authentic prayers, like to the universe, not to a God that somebody created and told was controlling everyone, not like that. Like his stuff his prayers are really authentic. And he said in one of them, looks like the rails are coming off and you add another rail, to the universe. And like, looks like the wheels are coming off and you add another wheel. And I was like, oh, I feel like that like every moment. It is so nice to hear somebody else say that, because I feel like you're not going to get that watching mainstream media. You're not going to get that, you're not going to watch like Fox News or something and have someone being vulnerable and saying, what's their real experience of what's going on in the world or their lives. Or, yeah, you're not going to get that. And I love it when people I watch on YouTube go to that real place, because I don't know, any teacher I ever had when they were vulnerable in front of me, I really, really respected them. And I felt a lot of gratitude that they would like let me know that they struggle too and they're not perfect. It's really important. So much of how our world is structured is like everyone's got to look like they know what they're doing. And right now, nobody knows what they're doing. This is, kind of an experiment right now. This is uncharted territory that we're in. And yeah, if you're waking up or you have been awake, you're feeling it every day and like every moment. And I'm feeling it, and you're not alone. And this morning I was asking my guides, like, okay, if I should, this lady was telling me to do a podcast and talk about what I know. And I was like, what should I talk about? And my guides were like, hope. And I was like, okay, hope. And they were like, I was like, well, about what? And then they were like, well, it's not just the structures of the like the societal structures that are like crumbling, truly crumbling right now. They were like, it's not just about that. So don't look at just that. Like, there's a lot of really good things going on in the earth, and that are like not even related to the societal things that are massively changing. There's like a stability there and a groundedness and a hope that really good things are happening, under the surface. And don't think that it's only what you can see. There's so much more going on. And I'm remembering a old friend of mine who did some acid in the desert once, and he came back and he said, I saw Jesus. And I was like, what did Jesus have to say? And he said there's a lot going on, man. I hear that in my head when I think of these things. There's a lot going on, man, Jesus said. And I'm picturing him like wearing a robe and like sandals, And anyways, you might get a kick out of that image. I do. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. Yeah, just hold on. Good things are happening. And I can see them and feel them every day. But, well, here's another piece of the puzzle. I'm a parent and a widow. I have a toddler and a teenager. And there are days that, like, this is another thing I don't hear a lot of people talk about. Parenting while going through an ascension. Because the Ascension stuff is already so much to deal with. Like, take your breath away moment to moment, like, strapped to a rocket ship kind of energy. And then just dealing with like the mundane aspects of like filling a sippy cup or washing the dishes or remembering to take a shower or like get some sleep. It's like compounds everything. And I mean, I feel like full to the max with like duties and stuff that I have to do just in the mundane. And then I close my eyes and connect to the whole, every spiritual stuff that's all happening. And I'm like, whoa. And I feel like I want to talk more about parenting and what it's like to parent through all of these changes and how all this old stuff is falling away. Like a lot of stuff in my life around like school, normal schooling just fell away in 2018, and that's another thing people don't talk about. They don't I mean, I have not seen videos on parenting through an Ascension and schooling and like old programming. What the programs, school is a massive chunk of our programming. And I remember when I was in it, it felt like a prison to me. I felt like I was sentenced to have to go through this. Looking back on it, when I was done, just meaningless rote memorization of just so much stuff. And then people were like, you're not going to have a life. You're not going to be able to live or breathe or eat. No one's going to hire you if you don't have this diploma. I carried my diploma around proudly to jobs, and they were like, we don't care about that. And I'm like, what did I just spend 12 years doing? Like, oh, nobody cares about this. It's like there's so much programming embedded in schooling, and taking it apart, like with my children, is a huge task. And finding like the truth, what is true for us? What is true for them? What's the world going to look like, in 2 years, 10 years? Is all this stuff, all this information going to be something they're even going to use? And that's a huge, huge, huge part of my experience and my growth. And it takes up so much of my time and energy processing all of it. And I just want to, talk to other parents out there who are awake and like, know that just, I feel you. It's a lot. It's a lot. And it's scary. I remember when I got pregnant with my oldest, I had to decide how much of like allopathy I wanted to let into my experience having her, because I didn't want any of it. Because I looked at the system of having babies and I thought, this stinks. It's so unsupportive. And, these women are like cows moving in and out of the hospital, and like, where's the care and the love and the like glory? I mean, this is this amazing thing that people are going through, and it's huge. And it's like, these women are treated like cattle, in one room and out the next, just pumping out babies. And I thought, this stinks. This environment feels horrible. But there was nowhere else to go. And so I'm relating that to the schooling. Like, it was really scary to just say no to like most of allopathy, unless it was an emergency, which it did end up being. So the parts of the allopathy that actually work, like, stopping bleeding and getting babies out and everybody's alive, those parts worked. But again, it's like, I'm relating this to school. There's a lot of systems that we interface with that as I ascend don't fit anymore. And I watch my kids, they're so new. And I mean, their dad didn't program them in the way that, our parents were so deeply programmed in the Piscean age, we didn't want to raise them that way. We wanted to raise them to be little people that they were, because we could see them as just that, and want to honor that, not destroy it. My mother, nobody ever looked at her and was like, oh, you're a little person, what are you interested in? It was like, yeah, she was treated like an object. And I didn't want to raise my kid that way. And I physically couldn't do it. I would try to do what other people do, and I just was sick. And it was so scary to say no to that and just use my intuition. I was like, well, they say there's mother's intuition, so what would I, like, me as an animal, do? How would I treat my child, or feed them, or, correct them, or, would I correct them, or how much, and over what things? And I thought, yeah, okay, I just had to use my intuition to find what felt like it resonated for me and for my kid and their dad, and then my youngest daughter too. And it was terrifying. I mean, I spend a lot of time alone because I just like don't live the way other people live, and I'm exhausted a lot of the time because of it. But I just physically can't do anything else than be myself and like and let my children be themselves. And God, I would love to find other people in the actual world who feel that way, and I know that there are those, and that I don't come across them often because, I'm busy mothering and stuff. But I'm on here right now to be that person, because it felt so good to me yesterday to talk with that woman who she just spoke my language. She just told me my story, and I was like, wow, that feels so good to hear someone else say. And I realized how many things I do in a day just kind of in response to that isolation, that isolated feeling, is like, how do I pick what I'm going to do in the evening? How do I pick, the activities I'm going to do it or engage in, because a lot of the world isn't functioning how I am right now, and it's hard to interface with. And I know there's other people that feel that way. I mean, the woman that I would talk to, part of what was so touching or moving when I was listening to her was that she knows that she's awake, and she knows, that she's a star seed, and that, she knows that she has a lot of energy that comes from other places, other stars, other galaxies, other ways of being. And I totally relate to that. I feel a lot of the time like I don't even know how to function in the world. Like sometimes I look at a chair and I'm like, what is this thing we're sitting in? And the phone is like, why are we talking on this thing? And like, or my steering wheel, sometimes it's like, I'm supposed to relate to this circle that makes this machine drive around. And that is such a deep sense of like, not isolation, it's just, alienation, feeling kind of just really not at home in your surroundings, but having to live there every day and like figure out money. God, money. I forget about money all the time, and I'm like, oh right, I need that thing, that paper that makes me able to eat. It like it's so frustrating. And I was gonna tie that into being a starseed, and oh yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, just that feeling of feeling like, oh, that's what I was gonna say. When I tune into the actual earth, I'm super connected to her, and I love her, and that's part of, I know that earth was in trouble, and there was like a call that went out, and I was like busy doing something else, I think really fun and filled with love and like joy and good feelings. And like, then I was like, oh, okay, I gotta put on like a flesh suit and like go help Gaia, because I just love her so deeply. And so it's weird to feel so connected to the earth and feel so disconnected to what has been built on top of her. That is a really challenging feeling to deal with every day. It's like I feel schizophrenic, like, oh, Gaia, and then like society, oh, Gaia, society, ah! And that becomes extra challenging becoming a parent for me, because then I'm having to deal with, school and doctors and hospitals and a lot more than I would have to deal with if I was, alone. So it kind of ramps up that feeling of alienation. And I have little coping things I do all day to just kind of deal with that feeling. Yeah. And I just wanted to say that because I know that other people have those things. And I'm sure a lot of people get down on themselves about it. I know I do. But it's like when I really analyze, like, well, why am I doing this? I need to not be in society right now. I have a real strong, introvert side that's like, I just need to unplug from being here. I'm done. I've been, pushing the pencils around all day. I need a break. I need to just introvert out, read a book, or watch The Matrix or something, not be interacting with the world. And I feel guilty about that. Every day I feel guilty about that. And then I'm like, no, I need this. I need this reset. This is important. It helps to balance me. And that's another thing that is really challenging, I think, when you're awakening, is balance. Because everything just gets thrown out the window. It's like, ah! And then when you become a parent, all the balance gets thrown out the window. And it's just like, I feel like I'm constantly course correcting and not often achieving my goal of balance, but I try. And I guess that's all you can do. Wow, I didn't realize that I was going to talk about parenting as much, but I feel like necessity is the mother of invention, and I don't see anyone talking about being a parent and being awake, like just straight up, like speaking English like that. Like, this is how it feels to me, and this is the struggles I go through every moment, and that it is different. A lot of the people that I really enjoy to watch on YouTube don't have any children, and I'm like looking at all their cool creative energy they're putting into their YouTube channel, and I'm like, wow, I'm so grateful that they're putting their energy towards making content that supports my life. Wow. And then I'm like, oh, right. I'm using a lot of that energy to create my children and to create their lives and to, feed them and clothe them. And then I'm like, okay, this is probably why I don't see a lot of parents on YouTube, because I do see some, but usually they're related to other subjects, not awakening and spiritual stuff and aliens and Bigfoot. I really want to do a piece on Bigfoot because I learned so much about them and I love them. We had an RV that exploded at the beach in Mendocino, and we had to pitch a tent on my friend's land for 2 months. And it was nice weather for pitching a tent. It wasn't, it was like the end of summer. It was perfect for that kind of living. But I got to really, really, really know how the Bigfoot work, because I could hear them at night, calling, and knocking on trees with sticks and stuff. And, I kept tuning in to them, and I learned all this stuff. I will make a whole nother thing on Bigfoot, because I learned so much that I can't. But they're basically multi-dimensional is what they explained to me, because I would tune into them, and there was 2 or 3 of the females that were working with me and teaching me stuff, and it was so cool. And they showed me where they sleep and how they eat and where they came from. You know, Sandra Walter actually has a little video on YouTube somewhere. I think I mentioned her, how I would devour her videos when I first woke up in 2013. And she talks a little bit about her encounters with Bigfoot and Shasta, and it's really cool. She's talking about how they would move stuff around, like her crystals and stuff. And they are humorous. That's the one thing I love. They're just have a special place in my heart. But I'll make a dedicated piece. Maybe that's what I'll do tomorrow if I get some time to make a video. My child is playing in the park right here and letting me make a video, and I'm really appreciative of that. She was not into it earlier. Well, I think that's all I'm gonna say for now, and maybe my next video will be on Bigfoot, and I'll remember all the stuff that they told me and just tell it to you like the cool story that it is. All right, well, thanks for watching, and if you want to donate, you can. I have to figure out how to make a donate button, but I think I will work that out. It should be below, I think, is how that's going to work. It's not essential. It's not essential, but it is appreciated if you decide to go that route. And have a wonderful, wonderful day.